Hi, my name is Paul Friesen and I'm a consultant for Knowledge Tech. Today I'd like to spend a few minutes and walk through the features of the Microsoft's new up and coming OS called Windows 8. Um, this version that I'm working on is the consumer preview, which was just released a few days ago, and I'd like to go through the features. So first off, what we're going to notice is just the basic layout. This new Metro UI, which you see on the Windows Phone and also on Xbox, is basically made for touchscreens and tablets. So you can scroll right to left as you see your apps are all there, and you're able to. They're big enough so they work with your fingers. Um, One of the things right off the bat top, if I see these tiles here, they're called live tiles, and I have the ability here to turn on and off any updates to those tiles. By if I hit a right click, I can turn them on and off here. I can make them smaller, or I can actually just get rid of them if they're not being used. Um, and one of the concepts of this UI is not only just these sort of big squares of to launch your applications, but it's this concept of active corners. So active corners here is if I go up to the right hand corner up here, you'll see that it will scroll. Oh, let's get that there. There we go. If I scroll up to the top, what you see is it brings down this menu down the right hand side here called Charms. And Charms is basically a new section of the interface where I'm able to kind of search for anything on my computer. So here, if I need Outlook, I can just type it there, or my weather app. There we go. So it's basically integrated search. Um, Also, I have the ability to share applications, go to my start menu, look at any sort of devices that I have, and adjust any of the settings that are there. The other notable thing is when you see me flipping back and forth on the screen here, I'm using the Windows button. So I expect in the new tablets that we're going to see these Windows buttons be prominent. Also, the other active corner down here, hot corner, if I go down to the lower right hand corner and I scroll up, I can see all of my open applications. So I can easily sort of move between my open apps here and move around that way. One of the more important pieces of this is now application developers have access to the whole screen. You see here that it's very uncluttered, and I'm able to use all of that real estate. It's just a map up here. If I type that, I can search on a map. So again, if I get into my hot corner, I can go back to my start menu here. There we go, and do it that way. One of the pieces, of course, this is post integration of Windows 7, and if people that like the standard desktop is still there. Of course, one big change, though, is that you see there's no start button down on the lower left-hand corner. That's been replaced by going to start, which takes you back to the start menu as we know it. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. And if you right-click the corner, you get the equivalent of Control Panel. So programs and features, typical things that you'd see that way. One of the more interesting things is here I'm just in the standard desktop, and the Explorer here now has the ribbon bar. So we saw that originally in Office, and now it's being brought over to Windows just to be more consistent from a UI perspective. So when you install programs, of course, the icons end up on the desktop here, so if I have Office, they show up here, and I can sort of arrange them and hide them as required. So if I have this one here, which is not that useful to me, I can just say pin from start menu. And then if I need to see it, of course, I can just go to the top and search for it that way. VBA, there it is. So that sort of cleans up the interface that way. In the desktop here, of course, all the standard sort of Windows 7 stuff that you expect. And in fact, in this build, I used all of my Windows 7 drivers. They all loaded, no problem at all, including the antivirus security essentials from Microsoft. Integrated into this is SkyDrive. So, here I've got some documents on my SkyDrive, and these sync up to the cloud. So in this consumer preview, when you start up, it requires a live ID, and that live ID authenticates you to SkyDrive, and I can upload and synchronize all of those things back and forth. Of course, it's the next iteration of IE10, and again, it is optimized for a finger experience, for a touch screen experience. So if I look at where my if I bring up a web page here, let's bring that one up, and there it is. And if I wanted to see my most frequent, or if I have some favorites that I've pinned to the start menu, there they are, very accessible from that perspective. As you can see, the bars down at the bottom here, very finger friendly, doing it that way. Now, don't despair if you like the traditional interface. IE down in the standard Windows desktop has all of the things that you're used to, including compatibility modes for prior versions of Windows. The App Store, this is a kind of an interesting thing. We've seen this in some competitive products, where if I need an application, a mapping or a food app or this or that, you can just go to the App Store here and scroll through the particular ones that you like, and if you see something that you like, you can do it. Now, one of the interesting ones, so say if I like this Photo Vault, this one's free, even better. Oh, I think that one's already installed, so let's grab another one here. And let's take Kobo. Let's try this one. One of the most interesting pieces of this is that when you installed Windows applications in Windows 7, it would come up with the user account control. Do you want to install this? And if you didn't have administrator rights, it would prompt you. In this case, if I do it here, you look on the top piece of it here, and you see installing Kobo up in the top without any interaction whatsoever. So I assume that Microsoft is going to be pre-certifying these applications, so they're known to be unharmful. So there it's installed, and of course I can just go into it and look at it that way. Here it is. I'm not going to do that right now. And lots of applications that are out there today, that are very sort of touch friendly and interesting that way. In this case, the pinball, the games and stuff, this interface requires DirectX 9 for some of the higher end graphic stuff. And interesting enough that you can share the games from Xbox Live. So quite interesting in that perspective. We'll be doing, so that's kind of all that I had today. We're seeing some enterprise applications. Here I have Evernote, which I normally use from a business perspective to take notes. We've seen a preview for Windows 8, which is quite exciting. And I expect that all the software applications will follow suit. So thanks for listening. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about the next version of Windows 8. And we'll be doing regular updates as Microsoft releases these things. So thanks again, and happy computing.